this particular session, we will talk about the leading in the VUCA world, and first we will try to understand what is the meaning of VUCA, leadership agility model. Then we will discuss assignment of the managerial competence to VUCA, KS model of the leadership for the VUCA world, 5 building blocks for the adaptive and enterprise of the future, adaptability quotient, how can adaptability be developed, and the book, as usual, the book recommendations and the references are there. So, when we talk about the volatility, so refers to the rate at which an industry, market or the world, and it is well documented in the literature on industry dynamism and is associated with the fluctuations is demand, turbulence and the short time for the markets are there. The greater the volatility of the world, the more and the faster things are the challenging. So, this volatility of this world is making the changes. In the previous session, we have talked about the technological changes and its implementations. So, therefore, this is also a part of the volatility. Then the external environmental factors are very much uncertain. So, it is a degree to which we can confidently predict the future is referred to as the uncertainty. Uncertainty is perceived and associated with the people's inability to comprehend what is happening is there, and the more uncertain the world, the more difficult it is to predict. Complexity refers to the number of factors that must be considered as well as their variability and the interdependencies there. The more factors there are, the more diverse they are, and the more interconnected they are, the more complex an environment is there. So, volatility, uncertainty, complexity and the ambiguity is there. So, the more factors here, when they are becoming the uncertain, they are becoming the more diverse are there, if you cannot predict them, and therefore, as a result of which there are the different components, and different components they will create the more complexity is there, and and not only that, they will be having the interdependence also. So, on one side they are having the number of the different components, and they are having the interdependence also, and the more interconnected they are, the more complex an environment is becoming. So, therefore, in that case in case of this complexity world, then the ambiguity arises. Lack of clarity regarding the how to interpret the something, and when information is incomplete, the contradictory or too inaccurate to draw the clear conclusions, the situation is the ambiguous is there. So, when interdependence is more, so uncertainty and complexity is becoming more, and when we are talking about these you have to make the volatility or change. So, now the ambiguity arises. The ambiguity is that is what is the interpret the current environment, because there is a lack of clarity in the current department. When information is incomplete, contradictory or too inaccurate to draw clear conclusions, the situation is ambiguous is there. Mutual interaction in VUCA environment is that is about this becoming an important that is how we are going from the volatility to uncertainty and to the complexity and towards the ambiguity is there. So, here we find that is from this figure we understand this is becoming an interdependency more and more. The VUCA leadership is principally originally stems from an army and military term used after the Cold War, when the world becomes more complex due to the number of factors. In recent years, it has been applied to a business context, as VUCA also accurately describes the modern day the terrain organizations are faced with as they deal with the international markets, continuously restructuring growth and the downsizing, economic and global influences, technological change, culture and social shifts and more are there. So, therefore, in that case it has become the very important that is the we are considering the all other factors of the stakeholders also. VUCA leadership aims to help manage the rapid and the unpredictable change which is ultimately the new norm for leaders in today's the modern era is there. So, VUCA leadership is the ability to shift and respond to changes in the business environment with the focused, quick and agile actions are there. Given the challenges we continue to face, Microsoft and the CEO Satya Nadella summarizes the importance of leadership as today's role of leadership is to provide clarity in uncertain times. The more uncertain the situation, the greater the need for the leadership is there. So, therefore, there is no job description, no rule book for what you are dealing with. Today's leaders must thrive in the face of ambiguity is there. So, therefore, there will be the low volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity is there, or there will be the leaders who will be leading in this the high volatility, high uncertainty, high complexity and the high ambiguity is there. The 21st century leadership requirements are the ability to lead through the more complexity and the ambiguity is 81%, while the ability to lead through the influence is 65%, ability to manage on a remote basis is 50%, ability to manage a workforce with a combination of humans and machines 47%, ability to lead more quickly is the 44% is there. So, here we find that is a unique requirements answer the questions what do you believe are the unique requirements for the 21st century leaders, the select all that apply is there. So, therefore, here you will find that is it is becoming very important, that is what type of the ability a leader possess. So, if the leader has to possess manage the remote basis, he should be having a combination of human and machines and also have to lead the more quickly and timely, because in the era of uncertainty you do not get the time and then immediately you have to make changes in your organization. The VUCA leadership principle originally stems from an army and military term used after the so therefore, in that case these practices of leadership agility that is becoming the more and more important. This leadership agility model is giving this particular the agile leader is there. The first and foremost is, and that is about the integrity. So, self aware and accountable is there. So, here it is becoming very important, that is the leaders are giving this self awareness and accountability for this particular integrity is there. As far as the innovations are concerned, it is a curious and experimental is there. So, we can develop these particular innovations which is becoming the very curious and the experimental are there, and in case of the urgency they can be focused and decisive also. For the agile leader, the ability is required is engagement, the inclusive and collaborative engagement with the people is becoming very important is there, and the direction is to be of the leader is the communicative empowering is there. So, agile leader is required to develop the integrity, innovation, urgency, engagement and direction is there, then the leadership agility will be there. Catalyst leaders consistently use the following 4 types of agility competencies in a way that they build on each other. So, the context setting agility is the ability to scan the environment, anticipate what might be the change and frame their context is a compelling way that influences others. It is the ability to step back and see connections beyond the boundaries of their specific initiative, functions, companies or even the industries are there. And this allows for a longer term focus and visionary and thinking and impact is there. Stakeholder agility is the ability to identify, seek out and engage key stakeholders. It is the capacity to understand and empathize with the views of the multiple stakeholders while also honoring the one's own view are there. Creative agility is the ability to explore multiple views when dealing with a complex problem and to step back to examine the assumptions being made. Catalyst leaders hold the tensions within the paradox. So, short term versus long term, practical versus idealistic, because they are not exactly the comfortable with this type of the creative agility. So, therefore, to lead the teams who come up with the unique solutions are there. Now, the self leadership agility is the capacity to engage deeply in growing self awareness and leading oneself. First, by the investing in the kind of leader they want to be. Catalyst leaders have an interest in aligning their behavior with values and inspire to becoming more authentic leaders. They use personal growth and to fuel the professional development is there. So, assignment of the managerial competence in VUCA is, that is for example, the vision is there. So, the answer to volatility is define the vision of the project taking into account the target description. This approach makes it possible to determine a creation trend in terms of volatility is there. Next is the understanding, the answer to uncertainty. A stakeholder's feedback is actually the answer to an uncertain situation. In the line of reasoning, it means open communication throughout the enterprise regardless of the existing organizational structure. It is aimed at a single flow of information determining the quick action is there. Clarity, the answer to complexity. The focus on the management system in the enterprise that is understandable to employees. It results in the creation of the procedures and process description that are understandable to the employees. As a consequence, everyone is aware of the course of action regardless of the chaos that appears in the external environment. Agility is the answer to ambiguity. It is a competence that largely supports managers in the ambiguous conditions. It allows for the accurate identification of phenomena throughout experiments. Instead of the discussing, it is easier to create, prototype and be able to rest is there. KS model of leadership for the VUCA world is there. So, KS is an acronym for the credible, adaptive, resolute, emotional intelligence and the sense making is theirs. So, therefore, in that case first we will talk about the credible and adaptive and then there is here resolute, emotional, emotionality, intelligence and the sense making is there. So, what is a credible? As a leader, credibility lets your employees see you as a dependable source of the reliable information and for so fair, effective decision making. This would enable you to align them with the goals of the organizations. Without credibility, that cannot be culture of the trust and shared goals. So, the credibility of the leader is of prime importance, especially in a VUCA world where you need the team to trust you to lead them in the direction that you want them to go. Adaptive describes the people who are flexible. They do not lose their cool when plans change quickly and they are always willing to learn new ways to go through. Being adaptive helps you cope with the volatility and uncertainty and set along in today's ever changing world is there. So, resolute is developing and articulating a clear view of the future on today's increasingly complex environments demands that leaders make judgments about the future. Something that entails a risk and could be wrong and there would be significant consequences. Successful leaders are those who can overcome those doubts and act to prepare the organization for success in the future is there. Then emotionally intelligent. Dealing with the uncertainty, volatility and ambiguity can be emotionally challenging for any leader. Unless you are able to manage your emotions on this roller coaster, you might end up burning out really fast. Emotional intelligence is defined as the ability to understand and manage your own emotions as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. The sense making is the action or process of the making the sense of or the giving meaning to the something, especially new developments and experiences. Sense making is how we make sense of the world so we can take it in. A person with the highly developed sense making can tolerate ambiguity and uncertainty is there. There are the 5 building blocks for the adaptive enterprise of the future. The agile culture is there. The key is to create a responsive environment with interdepartmental collaboration. Organizations can leverage rapid prototyping, sensing and develops to enhance team productivity and ensure continuous improvement of the product or service quality. Agile collaboration, a collaborative work culture allows optimized decision making during critical situations. This requires seamless collaboration and communicate tools to enable people to come together and share their work in progress is there. A scalable and flexible strategy for the workload management is imperative when the organizations are faced with the drastic shift in demand. Leveraging a higher round or the other flexible cloud problems with more managed work time and the anywhere per discussion needs are there. The agile operations, the current crisis calls for the enterprise to implement digital applications that get the right information to the right people quickly. Then this necessitates the proactive teams that think of value creation instead of having a mere project mentality. Agile security, a major priority in the current business landscape, cyber security and disaster recovery management are significant for assets and information protein is there. To ensure securely organizations will need to consider safeguards all assets including the people and innovations locations are there. Embracing the adaptive enterprise mindset. So, VUCA 2.0 lays the foundation of the new 21st century for the adaptive enterprise, which will function with a strong vision, agile and the enduring courage to ensure the goals that stays clear even if the route may need to change. Led by the adaptive leaders, the enterprise is flexible, responsive and to current challenges, but ensures everything success is there. Now, we will talk about the adaptability quotient is there. So, AQ is the ability to determine what is relevant, to forget absolute knowledge, overcome challenges and adjust to change in the real time is there. Those with high IQ demonstrate the work following behaviors are there. Open mindedness, they actively work on managing their unconscious biases to remain open to possibilities are there. They actively seek to review situations from the perspective of others. They prioritize developing new skills and continually invest in their own learning to better prepare themselves for an uncertain future is there. So, this is the ability, character and environment model of adaptability quotient and therefore ACE, that is adaptability, character and environment is there. Now, here we will find that is this particular model is having the different dimensions, and each dimension is contributing to the another dimension is there. For example, grit, mental flexibility, mindset, resilience and unlearn is there, while in the case of the character is there emotional range, environment, hope is there, then the motivational style, and then there is a thinking style is there. Now, here we see the ability, and therefore, in that case grit and mental flexibility is become very important, and here in the character it is becoming the support for your this particular grit and mental flexibility is there. When does the someone adopt and to what changing degrees are? Yes, so work stress is there, work environment, team support, emotional health and the company support is there. The power of the ACE model and AQ adaptability quotient is a holistic measure of this workplace adaptability. The higher your AQ, the more likely you will be able to recover from the setbacks and find alternative solutions to problems and the embrace changes there. Analytic quotients, this particular power of this adaptability quotient is measured across their three core dimensions are there. This particular the AQ adaptability quotient represents learned adaptability skills such as the ability to pursue a goal long term despite obstacles, grit, the ability to hold contradictory ideas in mind, and the self biasness mindset, self beliefs, recover from the setbacks resilience, and the ability to be able to get a go of old skills and learn how new ones are there. And therefore, in this model of the ability, character and environment, this particular AQ concept that has worked very strongly, where they are able to get the skills. The AQ ability can change over time as you learn and grow your skill set. As a result, it has the greatest impact on your AQ score. The AQ ability to sub-dimensions are the grit, mental flexibility, mindset, resilience and unlearn, while in the case of these emotional characters are there. In the characters we find that is emotional range, emotional extraversion, hope, motivational style and the thinking style, they play a very important role is there. Your environment can either help or inhibit your adaptation. Even someone with the high adaptability skills and adaptable personality can struggle to adapt if their environment negatively impacts the adaptability is there. So, this is why this third dimension of AQ environment is critical. Your work environment is typically out of your control to make an extent is there. The AQ environment subdimensions are the company support, emotional health, team support, work environment and the work stress is there. How can adaptability be developed? Like emotional intelligence, adaptability can be improved and refined. To improve the AQ, you can model high AQ behavior you want to see in your employees. Leaders who embrace the pace-setting leadership style can raise the analytic quotient of their team by modeling the adaptability and empowering team members to transform and update their skills. This will help to create an environment of resiliency to stress and adaptability to changes there. Take control of your own learning journey, recognize that you need ongoing professional development. Assume the responsibility for your own education and you will make yourself more marketable for years to remember. How can adaptability be developed? Make decisions about which roles to pursue based on how much you can learn. Prioritize the future opportunities where you will learn valuable new skills are there. Adopt a beginner's mindset when facing change. Remind yourself of your ability to let go of old information and absorb the new information is there. Find an executive coach or mentor to help anticipate and develop the new skills and the companies over time. The embrace is the 4 times rules, the most adaptable and the successful. The people devote 5 hours per week to reading and the learning is there. This is the book recommendation, and therefore here is the leading a VUCA world, integrative leadership, discernment and the spirituality is there. This open access book brings together work by the specialists from different disciplines and continues to reflect on the nexus between the leadership, spirituality and the disagreement, particularly with regard to a word that is increasingly volatile, uncertainty, complex and ambiguous is there. Now, here we find that is this particular book which is talking about this leadership and spirituality. It talks about that is the unless and until you do not have the spirituality, you cannot be the successful leader is there. And here what has been mentioned here is it is an axis between the leadership, spirituality and the discernment is there. So, this particular regard to a world that is that increasingly volatile, uncertainty, complex and ambiguous is there. The book spells out first of all what our VUCA world entails and how it affects the business, organization and societies as a whole. Secondly, the book develops new perspective on the process of leadership, spirituality and discernment, particularly in the VUCA world is there. These perspectives are the interdisciplinary in nature and are informed by the management studies, leadership theories, philosophy and technology is there. So, for example, in this case we talk about the this particular the VUCA order and the uncertainties are there, then you will find that it is not depending upon the one person, but it is depending upon the other person also. These are the references. These references you can go into the detail for the further studies and you can find out that is the detailing of these for your further studies are there. Here we have also given this detailing about the certain business magazines and journals. So, please kindly refer these business magazines and journals so that your studies that can be not only on the basis of the theoretical perspective, but it will be also concerning about these the reading of the research and orientation towards the research is there. For example, here you find that is the magazines we have taken is the HBR, Harvard Business Review, the references are taken, while in the case of these particular books are there and here we find out that is the articles are becoming the more popular. Please make the studies on these articles, books and reviews. You will be able to find out that is the more is the uncertainty is there or the volatile and the uncertainty is there, then you will be able to adopt adaptability will be making the better one if you train yourself to how to live in the VUCA situation, right. This is all about this particular session. Thank you.